Hello, 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 Caroline. Hello, Sandrine. And hello, people who are watching later on demand. There you go. It's me, Tony, TGN. TDN, not TDN. That's a different thing altogether. But there you go. There you go. So, did you enjoy the ad? I'm sure you did. There's always such a lovely ad just there. So anybody else joining, hi, hi, hi. And what we're going to do today is we're going to build out a calendar. Yes, we are. We're going to do that. So let's go ahead and launch the things that we need. So I'm going to just launch Illustrator just here. Okay, so I've got that up and running. Should have done that beforehand, really, but oh, well, you know. Hey, Oliver, I can see you there. Hi, hi, hi. Okay, so let me just nuke away some of that stuff there. And also, I'll be working in InDesign as well. So I'm going to get that one open. Alrighty, good, good, good. Now, wherever I can, I'll try and keep an eye on the comments and whatever at the top and the chat. I will do that. But also, we've got Chloe in the control room. Chloe in the control room can also whisper in my ear. Chloe's the wizardry version of Tim. Wizardry being my company, of course. Oh, you should be able to hear me. Oh, it was you. There you go. Phew. Oh, sudden moment there. There we go. Brilliant. Okay, right. So I'm going to build out a calendar. I get quite a few questions about calendars because it's fairly popular on my channel here. That particular thing, especially at this time of year. This time of year is all about calendars. People want to make their own calendars. Of course, commercial calendar production starts in January, but people want to make their own stuff, or they get it given to them as an assignment, okay, to make their own calendar if they're in education, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take it nice and easy. It's not a tutorial as such. This is live. It's a chat for us. So you can ask any questions. I will try and answer some of the questions, or in fact, I'm going to try and answer all of the questions that I get posed about this. Some of them are a bit harsh, you know, given that this is free content here. But there you go. Like somebody said, oh, there's loads of holes in this. I can't do calendar. I can't do holidays, and I can't do whatever. And I thought, well, you know, you can, but it's a bit more involved. So that's what I'm going to show you. So I thought for today, I would do something that is on a single sheet. So the sort of thing you could do if you had an A3 printer, for example, you could print one of these out and cut it into sections, or even cleverly fold it if you wanted to. So I'll start out actually here in InDesign, because InDesign is going to inform some of the stuff I'm going to make in Illustrator, which is going to be very, very straightforward, I'll be quite honest, for that, but nonetheless a bit colourful and fun. And then we'll come back into InDesign to stitch all of that together. So that's what we're going to do. Alexandre, bonjour, bonjour. Hello, hello, hello. Nice to see you here. So let's go ahead then. And what I'm going to do is create a new document. Okay, so Command N, Control N to do that. Pretty straightforward stuff. There you go, nice and easy. I'm going to go for A3, but I'm going to go for that in a landscape orientation here, just because I feel like it. It's entirely up to you how you do it. I'm going to turn off facing pages and work through a couple of the other things. Now here, I would like 6 columns just here. So I'm just going to dial that up to 6. Okay, and then the gutter between them, I think I'm actually going to make that maybe 6 millimeters between them, like so. Of course, these things can all change, but that's just where I'm going at the moment. And I'm going to make all of the margins around the sides here 6 as well. So if I just do that through all of those, they can just be nice and tight, because this will either be cut, okay, or it will be folded up, depending on what you're going to do. I don't need any bleed because I'm aiming at this coming out of an inkjet or similar just here. So I think that will work. Let's just go ahead and create that document. Perfect. There we go. Something like that is pretty good. Okay, and that looks all right. Nice even spacing around there. Of course, if these were trimmed, Okay, that means the edges there would not be right. So I am actually going to edit that. I'm going to go to my layout, margins and columns, and I'm going to bring that down to 3mm, just there. And then you'll see what I mean. Just imagine that this was going to be cut up or folded. I'm just going to bring in a guide here and then just hold down my Alt or Option key to swap the orientation. Can you see that? Okay, so then it would trim. Look at the one on the left-hand side, just there. That would trim nicely like that, and it would be even on both sides. I'm always getting that calculation wrong, but there you go. So I'm just going to release the Option key here. Okay, and then I'm going to make my way down here. So sort of about this point here. Of course, that's not exactly where I want it to be. It's also not that far off of where I need it to be. So 297, of course, would be the vertical dimension just here, 420 by 297. And I want that one to be in the middle. So I'm just going to type 297, okay, divided by, okay, so slash just there, 2, okay, and that will then give me 148.5, which I didn't know that. I know the dimensions, but I'm just showing you how to get around that kind of calculation just there. So okay, that's pretty good. And then I'll bring in another one. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do 148, okay, 148.5, just there, like so. But I'm going to add on 1.5, like so. Okay, so you can see that little calculation in that field. If I just zoom in for you just a second, that should be easier for you to see. So I'm getting it to do that calculation. I'm saying 148.5, add on 1.5, okay, and then it will do that for me and move that guide into place. And what I could do actually, if I wanted to keep this nice and tidy, zooming in, is I could change this one just here. So if I get hold of this one, and on this one, I'm going to subtract 1.5. And there we go. Now I've got that nice even gutter just there. If I just go ahead and bring this in, or that even row division, you can see that that would work out. And if you look at the squares just there, nicely done. There we go. He says, congratulating himself on actually doing his job, which is just amazing. I do that all the time, actually. I'll give myself so many prizes this year, but there you go. Right, so now I've got that, then I can start to work out what the division of things is going to be in here. So how I'm going to divide this up. So I'm going to use a couple of rectangles here. Visual person, as many of you will be. Okay, and certainly the people that are here with me live are visual people. I think I'm going to go to something like that. Now, ordinarily, if I was doing this, by the way, as a real job, I would actually calculate this, so it was just perfect. But I'm thinking something like that would work, maybe actually a little bit lower. Let me just change this so you can see it. So I'm going to tap D to give that the default appearance, which in InDesign is no fill and a black stroke. So I'm going to hold down Shift and tap X to transpose that. Zoom in on this area as well so you can see more clearly how I'm dividing this up. I'll then drag another one of these out and change its height just there. So this is going to be the month name. Now, one of the calendar processes I use for full page calendars, that's something I can actually include in there, and we'll see that a bit later on. And then underneath that, I'm going to want the area that will actually be the calendar. Yeah, and I need to leave perhaps a little bit of space there. So that's going to be all of the dates in there. That's going to be the month name above it. And thinking about it at the top, now you see if I'd done this perfectly, I would have left space for a little hole. But as long as you get the idea, that's the thing. And InDesign is very good at maths. It could be better, although mind you, it does allow some parentheticals now, I think, which is really nice. And just in case you're thinking, what's a parenthetical? A parenthetical is a calculation where it has an order. Yeah, so some things are in parentheses and it calculates those first and so on, that sort of stuff. And that will do. Anyway, for the moment, I think those things are going to work well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, all right, and take the size of this one. So this one is 64 millimeters wide by 81.5 millimeters high. It's time to go back to Illustrator. So I'm going to pop across to Illustrator and create a new document just here. And I think I said for width 61. Okay, I'm going to tab across. That annoys me, you know, the fact that you tab to the unit of measurement. I think the unit of measurement in that case should be first, and then you can enter your first value or whatever, or even last. If I type in a number, I want to tab through to the next field just here. Let me just go back to InDesign. 64 by 81.5 because I went off on a tangent. Yeah, then, which you will know, of course, probably that I'm known for that sort of thing. So let me just set my document raster effects resolution just here, the DRE as we call it in the biz. So 61 by 85, 12 artboards. Wonder why that is. Okay, and let's create that like so. Yes. All right. Now, what I should do here also is I should go ahead and name each one of these artboards. So I should go to the artboard tool here and then just name the first one January or Janvier or whatever. I went suddenly partially French just there, and why not? February and so on. So I should name those things really if I wanted to use them. And if it was a full job, then I would actually do that. But that's just fine for now. And I'm going to create a design for each one of these things. Now, for you people watching, and I'm pretty sure I know who could answer this question, what I want to know is, for the calendar, what are the 3 fire signs? And what are the, I think, well, actually, I know the fire signs. It's Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, I think. What are the 3 of the other ones? What are all the 3 things? Because isn't it Earth, Water, and Play-Doh, something like that? I'm pretty sure it is. I think it is something like that. So how many languages does InDesign know? InDesign, that's a good question. InDesign knows lots of languages, and it's one of the things you can do from Creative Cloud. Actually, you can install in different languages if you need to. You can't mix them. You can't, or at least I don't think so. And Alexandre can probably answer this question for me, actually. I'm pretty sure that when you just specify your language, everything gets installed in that language. So you can't have like InDesign in Middle Eastern and have Photoshop working in German, for example. I think you pretty much, you go and you change your language, then you reinstall and everything comes up in that language. And reinstallation these days is so easy, of course. All right, so my general design for this lot, if you might have seen a movie of mine a little while ago on building this thing in a single sheet, and I'm not going to deviate too much from that. This is my design sheet that I'm going to use here. So this is the kind of thing I'm going to build for each and every one of these artboards. So it's going to start with a couple of different things here. Let me go and view all of the artboards. So Option Command 0. Alt Control 0, Earth, Wind and Fire. Earth, Wind and Fire, but what's the other one? Earth, Wind, Fire. Air is one of them. Earth, Air, Water, yeah, and the other one is, or is it just, no, it can't be 3, it's got to be 4, but there we are. Anyway, right, so what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to zoom in on this first artboard. I am going to tap M to get my rectangle tool. Okay, and I am going to draw a rectangle like so. Okay, so it goes right the way over the artboard. Do you know, sometimes these days, because of that whole pixel precision thing that isn't very precise anyway, sometimes I just go over the edges of the artboard like so, because I kind of freak out about gaps. I don't like gaps. I'm then going to hold down Shift and tap X. In fact, yeah, I'm going to do that. Shift X like so to transpose the default in Illustrator, which is black stroke white fill, and then I'm going to hit the slash key there to get rid of the actual stroke. I'll then tap X again to swap these things out, and I think I'm going to go at this Photoshop style by double clicking on the fill just here. And I'm going to set this to blue and go for a very, very, very dark blue, right? Approaching black, but not actually black, so in that sort of region, so it's got a bit of color inside of it. And Caroline is telling me it's water, air, earth and fire. Brilliant, thank you. That's exactly what I need to know. So I'm going to view all of my artboards, and then Command X to cut that active object to the clipboard, and then I'm going to use the paste on all artboards command just there. I'm pretty sure it hasn't pasted that on all artboards, you know. Let's just have a quick look at the preview for that. Yeah, something's gone wrong there, but not to worry. It's just missing. It doesn't like those artboards at the end, so I'm just going to select everything here and just move that across. That's weird. That's not the expected outcome from that. There we go, but they're all there. Okay, and then I'm going to actually lock the layer that they're on, those backgrounds just there, and add a new layer. So I've got all of that. Then let's zoom in on this artboard again here, and I'm going to draw a small thin rectangle like so. Now this one I'm going to fill with white, so I'm going to tap D, okay, and then X/X, okay, so the X changes to the stroke, okay, and the slash gets rid of it, and then I go X to go back to the fill at the thing there. And apparently with InDesign it's a little bit more, Alexandra has piped in and said it's a bit more complicated to change the languages than other apps. That's true, because your system does have to have the specific language components, I think, to actually do it. So you need to have you need to be able to switch to something like, you know, the keyboard layout of the country that you're on. So right, so let's go ahead and make that a bit narrower like so. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use an effect to start off with. So I'm going to go distort and transform, okay, and then I'm going to go to move just here, and then just hit not horizontally, vertically. Bigger numbers, of course, move it downwards. So I'm just going to move that down a bit, 4 millimeters, that works, and then increase the number of copies as I go down like so, until I've got them so they're pretty much over the page, and just one more for good luck. Okay, that's great. And then I'm going to expand their appearance. Now recently, because it really bugs me going to the object menu and choosing expand appearance down here, and it's just a shame that it's not here in the quick action area, because that's something you do a lot when you're getting things ready for production, is to expand any appearances so they become actual things. What I did was I reassigned a keyboard shortcut to mine. Very easy to do. You go to the edit preferences, edit menu here, down to keyboard shortcuts. Okay, create your own tool set is the first thing you need to do. So save a set here and then give it a name. Mine's called TDN. Then go into the menu commands, and you can actually search for it. So if you search for expand, you can see expand appearance there. And command 9 isn't assigned to anything. Yeah, I checked. I went through all the different things. Command 9 isn't, and that works really, really well for me. So that's what I did. That means when I do something like this and I want them to be actual things, I just do command 9 and suddenly they're all expanded. I'll just move that up into place like so, and I'm going to cut that to the clipboard. Let's try again for the paste on all artboards and see what happens. It's done it again. It really, 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 super really does not like, okay, those artboards on the right hand side. What is the deal with that? Anyway, right, now what I can do is, okay, is I can go ahead and work through each one of these individually. Now, I didn't allow too much space between the artboards, but the background there is informing me. So I'm just going to select this first bunch just here, hold down shift and tap R, okay, to get the warp tool just here, and I'm going to change my brush size. I'm holding down Shift and Option, that would be Shift Alt on Windows. Okay, and just changing the size of the brush there. And I'm basically going to just move along. No, I don't like that one, it's going a bit wobbly, but I'm going to move across them like so, just to make a more interesting shape. And if I need to bend any of them outside of the artboard, that's fine. I'm not going for the regularity, by the way, of the other ones, although that's looking pretty naff. I'm going to do that with a large brush again. I'm going to make my brush big once more. By the way, the brush doesn't have to be square. You can actually do this with the Option key or the Alt key alone if you want, but it's just I use both to keep mine square. I don't know why I get so precious about that, but anyway. I'm just going to bend some of these around just loosely like so, and then fill that with a gradient. Okay, quick way to do that. Tap the period key on the keyboard, and that immediately takes whichever attribute is in front and pops a gradient on it. And then let's design a gradient for this one. So I'm going to double click here. Let's go with super hot unprintable magenta just there, and on the other side of that let's go for printable but not very groovy complementary green, and in the middle I think I'll put a bit of sort of yellowy color, and then save that gradient just there like so. So I've got that to use. So that one works pretty well just there. That's good. I'll then Command 2 to lock that one, which means I can then hold down the Command key or Control on Windows and select the next lot rather than switching tools around. If I'm a bit more gentle this time with this, okay, I'll get a better result. And it's that push and pull, that whole up and down thing that works here. And there are other ways I could do this, okay, but I think that works pretty well for me now. So again, period key, do that, and I think this time I'll change the angle of the gradient around. And of course it's working on all of those things, so tap G now for the gradient tool. Oops, not when it's in there. G now for the gradient tool, and just go ahead and unify those things like so. Brilliant. A smarter way to do that, you know, if you wanted all of those things to stay together as well, would be to turn those into a compound path. Also makes them easier to select and keep together. So Command 8 would do that. Now it robs it of any fill at the moment, so you'd have to go and do that again, but it does make it a lot easier to work with, as you can see just there. Now they're not all going to be this color just at the moment, so just bear with me on that. Honestly, they'll be slightly more interesting than that. So once again, I'm just going to go ahead and push some stuff around. Let's be a bit more brutal with it, and also a bit bigger with the old brush. And I have actually changed the shape of my brush there as well. So I'm going to Command 8 that, okay, and then period key. Okay, and I'll change the gradient there. Just go the other way up. Here we are, something like that. And I'll just do a few of these and then replicate them again. I'm showing you how I would do it, but of course we're 20 odd minutes in, and 20 some odd minutes in actually, and I don't want to just run out of time with that. So back to the forward warp tool here, or forward warp, that's Photoshop. The warp tool, let's push things around. You can go crazy, by the way, and do things like tap R on your keyboard when you've got something like that and actually select the points there. So if I, for example, went along and grabbed some of these points, just the ones in the middle, and tapped R, and then gently push them around, you can see I'll get a whole other result there. Okay, so again, Command 8, good stuff. And then change that around. So go for my gradient tool, I'm going to go from way outside just across here like that. Okay, and then I think I'll just get rid of the others and do some duplicating and whatnot down. So I'll just grab these ones. Given that you've seen the process just there, I'll unlock that. Option Command 2, Alt Command 2, Alt Control 2 on Windows. Okay, and then holding down the Option key, just drag some copies. So the first lot of copies, I'm going to flip those vertically, and the second lot of copies, I'm going to flip those horizontally. Then I'm going to start to make some changes to some of these. Now you can see the advantages here, by the way, of having the compound paths for these as well. It makes them nice and easy to select. Let's go ahead and mix some up. So I'm going to select this one just here, and this one here, and this one here, and this one here. That will do for the minute. I'm going to go to my Recolor Artwork dialog, made much simpler these days. You can still access the whole full business just there if you want to. Okay, but this one's good and also has the advantage of you being able to pick a color theme from one or more images. And I ought to say hi to Angus as well. Hi Angus, I did see you there, just I was mid-flow, and as you are, and there you go. Right, so I want to change some of these things out. Now I can keep them linked using this linkage just here, or unlink them and remix completely. So here, let's go into orange territory there. Let's go to the opposite-ish of orange. There, like so. And we're not 100 miles away from where we were before, but we're kind of different. There we go. You can also click away from that dialog without having to hit OK. You just click away, the dialog disappears. Right, so now I'll go for this one here. And I'll also go for, well, I'm going to go for the one directly underneath it. Okay, and then one over here, and then one of these two, this one. Just there. Let's recolor those as well. Just doing them all together. I'm going to unlink them. Let's just bring in an image, actually. Let's do that first. Let's see what we've got that's handy. Just here, and that's vibrant, that I could borrow. Let's try this one. I'm just going to pop an image down there. There we go. I'll select those things again. So I'll do this one. I think I'm selecting different things now, but I'm not really worried. And that one, and I'll go for that one as well. Okay, I'll go back for my Recolor Artwork, and I'll do the color theme picker. Go over to this image here and click on it. And you can see that it gets or creates a color theme from that image. Really useful thing to do, and you can use it as a starting point. You can also change the priority here about the presence of colors and so on, but you can also remix it as well. You've got a few things here for randomly changing the saturation and brightness, or randomly change the color order in there if you want to, but wasn't too keen on that image anyway, but I just picked it, so I'm just going to move a few things around. Let's make those just bluer. These can be unlinked now, just as before. Let's just take one of those. Oh, that's a nice color in the top there. Let's do something that's just a tiny bit lighter. Just there. There we go. There we go. We've got some that are completely contrasting to the others, and I can get rid of that image. So now I've got those. The next thing I need to do is to go ahead and lock that layer, introduce a new layer here, and I'm going to create an icon set for those different signs. So we'll get to which ones are which, but I'm going to start out with just a simple straight line just here, like so. I'm going to increase the stroke on that quite big. There we go, something like that. 22 points, nice, I like it. And then I'm going to create a copy of that, like so, and Command D to duplicate that. I'm going to select all three. Okay, Effect, Distort and Transform, Zigzag is what I'm actually after here. And I think I'll make these curvy, so I'll go for smooth points. And let's change that and bring that down just a bit there, like that. Oh, that's nice. There we go. Very similar to my original plan as well. Now my shortcut I've got here that I assigned for expand appearance, that came in really, really handy. And also I'm then going to perhaps outline the appearance of these. I might do that, or maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go path outline stroke. So now they're actual shapes, like so. And we can build an appearance for these. So let's zoom in. Okay, so I do actually want a black outline on all three of these. Okay, and then I want another fill. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the appearance panel. One of my friends here is not mad keen on the appearance panel. I think I'm trying to remember which one it is. Are you sure it begins with S? Could begin with S. Something like that. But anyway, I've now created another compound path, so Command 8. Of course, if you wanted to do that without all the shortcut business, just come along and go to the Object menu and make just there. So now I've got my compound path. I'm going to add another fill, so that'll be Command on a Mac, Control on Windows, and hit slash. So now I've got a new fill. This one I'm going to make yellow, and then I'm going to add another fill in a minute. But first of all, this one here, I'm going to transform it. So across to the FX button here in the Properties panel. If you're in an earlier version of Illustrator, you can go to the Effects menu and do the same thing from down here, down to Path. Choose Offset Path. I'm going to make this a negative value here. Right, so -1 works pretty well for that. Of course it would do. And then I'm going to get this attribute here, okay, and then just click the plus button at the bottom, which duplicates it along with its current property. And then I'll make this one magenta. Let's twirl that open and modify the offset path here. Let's make that minus 1.5, so just slightly bigger. And I've got a little bit of a yellow highlight just there. I'm happy with that, the way that actually appears at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead from there, go to my graphic styles panel. I like to clean all of these things out, so I'm just going to select all unused and delete them. And then I can go ahead and add the current appearance. So I'm going to go to the plus at the bottom here. Could also drag these in, by the way. Hold down the Alt or Option key and click. And the Alt or Option key just means it will launch a dialog. Okay, and you get the option to name it. So I'm just going to call this calendar style, just here. It could be anything, could be called Keith. For all it matters, but there you go. So now I've done that. You're also going to find out what a massive cheat I am now, because if I go ahead and do that, so that's going to be like my fire sign just there. If I just drag a copy down here and rotate it through 90 degrees, hey presto, water, amazing. Tony took fire and turned it into water, or vice versa. I could do it either way around. I'm also available for weddings, parties, bar mitzvahs, all that stuff as well. Tony's graphic magic tricks. Well, I'll tell you what I do need to know from you, people who aren't giving me that much information at the moment, is what are the 3 fire signs? What are the 3 water signs? What are the 3 earth signs? Okay, and what are the 3 air signs? Those are the things I need to know. So I'm going to create an ellipse now. Now I'm going to use this as a guide for size. So I'm just going to go ahead here, right, and create a circle like so. Okay, because this one's going to be air because it's all around us. Okay, I'll go to my graphic styles panel here and click to add that particular appearance. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and create a shape. So I'm going to go to my tools here, go to the polygon tool. Okay, and I'm just going to create a polygon. Now I'm still drawing, but I'm going to hit the down key on my keyboard while I'm drawing, just to get down to a triangle. Okay, like so, because I think this is a pretty good one for Earth. And again, back to my style here and click that, and it's done. Now you might think, well, why would you bother doing all of that stuff for a style? Well, the answer is this: because it will change really, really quickly. Oh, look at that! Oliver's coming in with all the star signs on there, and I'm going to need the months. But I can work it out if you just tell me what the first 5. Well, we can do it. We can do it together. But that's awesome. Now I've got all the things. I could have done a zodiac actually. So here's the thing with the styles. Let's just say one aspect of this style changed. So let's say, just for example, I didn't want them to have that magenta color. I instead wanted them to have this bright green color. what I can do is drag that into the graphic styles panel, but hold down the Alt or Option key, okay, and drop that down, okay, over the top. So I'm just going to bring that in, hold that down, and drop it onto there, and you can see all of those styles change at the same time. So there you are. That's why I did it that way. I'm just going to undo that a couple of times to get back to where I was, because I do happen as like these ones. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be accurate then on the months, right? But Oliver's taking me to task now on not wanting much. No, I suppose I don't really. I'm just going to have a quick glug of water. So good. Sealed containers, because there's kit. In case you think that's a bit of an elaborate bottle to have in here, nothing that's open with the liquid goes on top. Oliver's a winner. What I'm going to do is drag this one here, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to drag a water sign just here. And let's pretend they're all spaced out nicely. Actually, that was my file one. So January, February, March. Let's do it that way around. There we are, something like that. That would work. Does that carry on like that? I think it does. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Ooh. Yeah, that works. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead then and get each one of those. Okay, and just drag those down. Okay, onto each one. Command D that. Now, again, if I was doing this properly, what I would do is make sure those were centered on their individual artboard, but I'm sure you'll forgive me for not doing that right now. Someone didn't do their research. I thought it was an opportunity for engagement. That's what I thought. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oliver's coming. There we go. Fantastic. See, all of the things just there. So that is amazing. So Aries, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So Gemini, May, and all of the info's now. I'm just making sure that Chloe in the control room is capturing this stuff so we can use it for our next one on Behance. We'll do that one just there. Brilliant. So yeah, so I wasn't far out really, was I? It wasn't far out at all. I know you were only joking, Caroline, but it's quite true. You know, I didn't research that bit. I wanted to make sure that you could do the bit that you needed to do. But just for, when is the first Aquarius? Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Got it all. But let me just see if I can always correct that in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot forward here and make sure that this is saved. Just a minute. Oliver, thanks for digging all that out for me. That's amazing. Thank you. And I will drop this onto this drive just here. Okay. And we'll call that at calendar pictures. At calendar pics, like so. Just so it's easy for me to pull that out. PDF compatible file. I hear people saying you'll save file size by turning that off and all that stuff. Don't do that. Yeah, it's do I get paid for this? No, but I will send you some goodies. Don't do that. If you want to use it in anything else like InDesign or Photoshop, yeah, or Dreamweaver, keep that enabled, right? Because that's how those programs can actually get in and work with this file. They can access things like the layer structure and stuff like that. So keep that on, and also you don't get a preview. Yeah, if you turn that off and you're in your operating system searching, yeah, you can't find it. Oliver's doing Tim's usual job. I'm surprised I haven't seen Tim. He normally pops in and says hello under one of his many various different guises. It's a game we have to jump into each other's streams as different people and just do the odd taunt, low level taunt, nothing mean. Right, now I've got that. I've got the calendar pics just here, so I can go back to InDesign. Okay, and let's just get that fitted like so. Okay, and then I'm going to place those. So Command D to place that stuff. I'm going to go out to this and at calendar pics. I don't need to show import options just here. That's just fine. Okay. In fact, I do, thinking about it. So I am going to do that. Change my mind. Because I just want to make sure that the pages I bring in, and that's how InDesign kind of deals with artboards from that. So which pages do you want to bring in? Because as far as it's concerned, it's bringing in a PDF just there. So I want to crop to the bounding box of visible layers just here. I could also go to other things, other box elements just there, but I'm going to do this one for now. It's also going to show me how badly I didn't center these things. It's gonna punish me for that. Now I thought it was actually going to load all of those, so I'm going to delete that and try again because I don't think it did. I didn't turn all on. There we go. So now they're loaded in the place cursor. They actually call it, a place gun is its real name, but I am at odds with using that name. And these aren't at quite the right size, so I'm going to have to move them in a minute. I obviously did not get that quite right from there, but I'm sure you'll forgive me. Just here. Do you know what else I've done in my haste to get this set up is I've not calculated for the extra margin at the top. Shocker. Shocker. Right, I'm going to select that row just there, make sure they're all aligned to the center, and then I think I'm going to just nudge those across. Let's just move them. I could actually, if I wanted to, just say move them by 1.5 millimeters, and that would work just there. Unfortunately, it doesn't recognize a group of objects for centering like this does. If you do things individually here, you can see that you get that guide that comes up. The great thing about guides in InDesign actually is that they work to so many different objects without being intrusive. So you'll see them, just doing nice stuff like that. I'm also going to make sure that they are all centered vertically. Oops, I did align to top, but that doesn't matter. It's fine. Same thing. And of course, because there's a link between the things here, if I went ahead and changed this and said you should be aligned to the artboard, as should you, and as should you, as soon as I save it and go back, then they will show as being out of date. So you can see the small thing just there. And the best way to deal with that, okay, would be to go ahead and hold down the Option key. So Option, click that, and it should update all of those things, although it's not. So we'll go ahead and do that. There you go. This time it did. Didn't quite have the key held down. Let's have a see. Let's have a see. Alexandra is saying, do not check the options box, show options, but hold the Shift key if you want options. Could do that. Actually, that's a good tip. Top man, top banana. You could do that. That would be a very useful thing to do. Okay, so this one here, with this element just here, what I'm going to do is select that. I am going to change its nature. However, I'm going to go to the object menu here. I'm going to go to content, and I'm going to choose text, which changes it to a text box. Okay, and then I'll just move this thing out of the way, the thing that you can't see. Just here, I'm just going to move that over there. I think I might have muted just momentarily there, and I'll get rid of the fill old school style there. Okay, then I'm going to type something in there. Okay, I bet you can guess what I'm going to type in there. So if I double click now, let's go into there. So I'm going to type January. See, if you guess that correctly, give yourself a pat on the back. That Shift K thing is time saving as well, Alexandria. I quite often leave mine switched on, so I've got it. So just another key press away. So I want this to be centered. So Shift Command C is the quick way to do that. I also want it to be centered vertically. So Command V to access the text frame options and choose Align to center, like so. Brilliant. So now I've got all of that, and I'm just going to move this just up a little bit there. Okay, it's kind of where I want it to be. I think something like that is good. I'm going to zoom out. Okay, then I'm going to drag this across, holding down the Option key. Okay, and then I can release this as long as I had the Option key down at the beginning, which I clearly didn't. If I hold down the Option key and drag, it continues, okay, its operation of making the copy, but I can also hit the right arrow key here to add more instances, and I'm hitting that 4 times. Okay, just holding down Shift before I release my trackpad here. Okay, and then it creates me those copies like so, which means I can also bring those down just like that and kind of nudge them into place. Now, ordinarily, again, I'll stress that if I was doing this as a real job, I'd actually have guides out for these things. I would have already gridded the whole thing. So I can go ahead then and change some of the months here. I'm not going to do them all because you're not here to watch me typing months, or maybe you are. I don't know. For those of you that are, which is all of you, I think, that are making yourselves known, the tomorrow, of course, is the host special, I think, isn't it? For the Adobe Lives. Pretty sure it is. Well, it's definitely my calendar, so I clearly know it is. July. What comes after July? August. August. Wasn't that named after the Emperor Augustus? Pretty sure it was. I am actually, by the way, just in case you were thinking, he said he wasn't going to type all of the months. I am. I just have. I've just done it. It was me doing it. You're watching me doing it now. November and December. I went French again momentarily there. I was going to type it as December. I'm going to hit the escape key to come out of that, and Command 0 to view the whole page, like so. Good. That's just fine. At this point, it would be really reckless of me not to save this particular document, because if that goes, even though InDesign's got super good crash recovery, yeah, we don't want that, do we? It would be very, very disappointing. Next, then, oh, so good, so much fun. Next is doing the bit that involves, oh, actually, I did put the gap in for the margin. I was telling myself off, and I did do it. There you are. Right, next is to actually change the thing here. So I've just removed the fill. Again, same keyboard shortcut as Illustrator, learning in one place. Then you've got them for both. So what I'm going to do here then is I'm going to change the content of this to text, whereas before it was unassigned. You know that has happened because, okay, that's just a really good comment. Because you can see the inflow and the outflow ports just there. That is very funny. So the comment that, just in case you haven't seen it, is from Oliver saying, I'm pretty sure 2020 just had January, Feb, March, and then 9 months of April. It did, and it had days that just went on and on and on, in which you had periodic naps, and then you just woke up and you had no way of knowing if it was actually the same day or the day after. If you didn't wake up in the middle and think, oh yeah, it's definitely dark, you could just think it just feels like the same day. And there you go. And Alexandra has just popped in and told me, just reminded me of all of my French months. So there you go. I knew it was Mars as well, and Avril, those I knew. May, I couldn't remember that. Oh, that's the one. I can never remember that for August. There you go. I'm just noticing, by the way, quick bit of merch promotion here. You might notice I'm sporting this very, very nice Design Ninja baseball cap, which you can get from my store. If you look underneath the movie or the live stream there, you should actually be able to see my Design Ninja store just there, where you can buy tons of stuff from there. But anyway, right, moving on swiftly. what I need for this now is I need a table. Okay, so I'm going to create a table like so. And if I was doing a full page calendar here, and there are movies on my channel that show you how to do that using the hack you're going to see in a minute, but to make something that gives a page per view. And if we get a chance, we might do that as well. Okay, but here for body rows, I want to add 6 rows just there. And for columns, I want one for each day of the week. Okay, there like so. So I'll do 7 just there. I am going to have 1 header row in this. Okay, and then footer rows, I'm going to leave those off, but I'm just going to go okay like that. And it should have drawn me a table. Now, at the minute, it's not showing me anything there at all, apart from the black line that I've just added, but it is showing me table cells. So what I'm going to do is just double click. Ooh, there we go. That's gone a bit Larry. That's very, very Larry. So here's my header rows. Okay, now I'm just going to type into these let's do, I like working week calendars that wait their way to the window of the weekend. Like so, with Sue on the end, that well-known day, Sue. And for here, I am then going to select all of the cells. So Command / to select the first cell, Command A, because I've told InDesign that I wanted to work with the cell. So doing that gives me that. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that all of that text is centered just there, which will carry on throughout all the cells. Now, I've got to get back my rows just here. So I'm just going to hold down Shift and bring those up like so. Oh, there you go. I've got some information. That's why that went wrong. I'd actually already got some information up here. Right, so there was always, there was a small bit of text, I think, just in there. So let's just make sure. Let's go and forward delete that. Interesting. Okay. Do you know what? I think it's done it in its own text box. It has. There we go. So we'll bring that up like so. I hadn't gone into that cell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Okay. You might not think that was perfect, but it was. Okay, there we go. So I've got that. I'm going to bring that up a little bit as well. Okay, so now I've got that. That's all good. Here comes the good bit. So let's go ahead and also change this text box, because it would be a disaster if that wasn't connected to that. You need to do a bit of text box control with this particular technique. Okay, you just do. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I am going to double click inside this first cell, and in this cell I'm going to go to the type menu. I'm going to come down to insert white space, and I'm going to insert a thin space, okay, which is Shift Option Command M, Shift Alt Control M to do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a new paragraph style like so. I'm going to call this dates there. Okay, not based on anything. Never ever use that thing. Never base anything on the basic paragraph style, because that means if the document goes across to somewhere else and their basic paragraph definition is different to yours, it will throw everything out of whack. World of digital pain. I'm going to go to bullets and numbering just here. I am going to create a list that what has numbers. Okay, and then I'm going to zoom in on this chunk here, and to this numbering style field here. 1, 2, 3, 4 is good, unless you want to do yours in Roman numerals. And the caret, that's what that little thing, T, that's actually shortcode for a tab. So I'm going to delete that. The period is exactly what the period is, and caret octothorpe or caret hash, okay, that means generate a number. Now I'm also going to go back to the general tab here, and what I want to do is just preview that. I should have been able to apply this to the selection. Hey, now you can see the number in there, right? So I know that that works. Okay, Command / in a minute to go ahead and select that cell. But first of all, what I'm going to do is add a bunch more rows. Now I can do that with Command 9, Control 9 to insert rows. And here I'm going to just pop in. You can always add more, right? You might think, well, there's 52 weeks in a year, but it doesn't quite work out like that this way. So I'm going to add 60. I think 56 actually does do it on the nail, but I'm going to add 60 below. Okay, so they're going to be added just there. Now I know they're there, right? Because I've got a small outflow thing. I'm going to go to the first cell. Okay, here, or I won't bother too much. There, Command / to select that, and then I'm going to copy that cell's appearance. Okay, and then up to the table menu, down to select body rows, like so, and then I'm going to paste. And now you can see I've got a bunch of numbers in there. And this is how this works. Okay, what you have to do from there on in, because these things need to be linked together ideally, if you're doing the page by page thing, you need to do that. Right, but here, if I just go to the outflow port, right, and then just, whoops, to daisy, don't right click and do it. Yeah, but if I just go ahead and keep on working with those to the same size, the beautiful thing again about the whole InDesign guides and grids thing, what I can do with these now, these are showing overflow just here. That's because they're in the hundreds and they're too wide for that cell. And I could have changed if I needed 3 figures, which I don't. Yeah, then you could go ahead and do that, but you don't need to be discouraged by that business just there, right? Because it will resolve itself. I'm just going to do the first 4 just for the minute, because then you'll get the idea, right? You repeat that across and get those all going. Then what you do is, okay, you go to, for example, January. And for this row here, the remainder of this particular week, because there are just 31 days in January, just hit delete. Okay, then you get your Command key or Control key and you change the height of the text frame, which means it moves that row across to the next one. You then go to whatever day that is. So the next day from there will be a Thursday. So I clear out the 3 cells just there, right? I then right click on the Thursday and choose restart numbering, and away it goes again. Is it a leap year next year? No, it can't be because it's an odd number. Yeah, that was this year, and there we go. Yes, so I'm going to get rid of that. You can see how that works. And in fairly short order, you will have created your calendar. However, at the moment, it doesn't look as beautiful as it could do. So I'm going to click in a cell and then just drag across a couple here and then just do Command A. So I select absolutely everything. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come up to the control strip just here. Okay, and I'm going to click on the intersecting lines. You can also right click and do select all in there. That selects the intersecting lines as well as their boundaries. And then just remove the stroke attribute they have. And so the visual appearance, okay, if I just tap W, I'm making sure I'm not active anywhere there. If I tap W, is that you get all of those things like so. And that's how easy that is to do that way. Now, in the last couple of minutes before I actually stop here, what I'm going to do is, again, reinforce the fact that there is a movie that shows you how to do that technique across several pages using an autoflow method, which is a really good way to do it. But I am going to show you something that if you need to make loads of different calendars that you could use. So if you go to your Creative Cloud application, right, and you go to the marketplace, there is another place to get hold of this, by the way. Okay, and go for all plugins. You can then search. And in this field, if you type Calendar Wizard, like so, and highlight InDesign, okay, it should give you a lot less than that, actually. There we go. If I didn't hit return after the search, you can see this Calendar Wizard just here. Okay, and there's another one just here. This one, okay, is the trial version, right? And that's the one that is free for non-commercial use. If you're not using it commercially, you can use that one. If you're just doing it for your friends and family, you can use that one. If you're using it commercially, however, you've got to get this one, really, to be fair and to be honest. And it does rely on you being honest, but if not, karma, it will come back on you. And you can find out more about those by clicking learn more. And if I just go ahead and go to a browser just here, okay, this is what you'll get. It tells you a bit more about the trial. It also tells you about the license terms, about it being just for non-commercial use. And here's the one for the calendar wizard. And you've also got access to this website on SourceForge. Now, if you don't have access to the Creative Cloud app or to the Adobe Marketplace, you can actually go to SourceForge and download it. Just a warning, when you do that, you might get faced with some things that say download the manual. Ignore those, they're clickbait. Just be very, very careful. They are not taking you to the SourceForge thing, I believe. I've never clicked on them, so I don't know. It's just what somebody told me, and I'm erring on the side of caution. But this particular page, which you can do just by searching for the time InDesign Calendar Wizard instructions, it will take you through to this page, and you can find out how to install it for your particular version. And just to wrap this up for today, I'm going to show you how that gets used. So once you install it, okay, if you're using the ZXP version, that's really easy because it just puts it in the right place. If not, you've got to go into your InDesign folder. That I can show you actually very quickly. So if I go to my applications just here, this is on a Mac, slightly different program files and whatever on Windows. But if I go into the InDesign main folder, then I've got this folder scripts. If I open that up, you've got a folder called community, and in there a thing called scripts panel, and you can drop all of the files in there. Okay, so it looks like that folder, and then you've got this stuff. So you unzip it, drop those in, but the ZXP makes it much easier to use. And then when you use it, you go to the window menu, come down to utilities and choose scripts. So this answers a couple of other questions that I've been asked frequently. Can you add numbers for weeks? Can you add the holidays? And this, while my answer is, yeah, create new overlays for those. So new tables without any information in and drop those things in, not on this sort of calendar, of course. This is sort of a flippy kind of calendar, just the sort of thing you can hang somewhere nicely. Okay, but on a larger calendar, the sort of thing, you know, where you've got two big leaves like that, then yeah, this works well. So here I'm going to double click on Calendar Wizard JS, and it loads this. So it's a JavaScript thing, completely cross-platform. Okay, and then you're faced with this dialog. It looks busy, right? I'm not going to go through all of it because it's self-explanatory, but it does look busy. So you can determine a bunch of different things here about the way the whole thing's drawn. So you can go ahead and change those if you want to. You can set the first month. Well, I'm going to set mine to January 2021. Ooh, I went 22 just there by accident. And I'm going to get it to end on December 2020. Okay, and also here the language. Okay, and all of this other stuff. The things that I find really interesting are things like this. Include the moon phase. Yeah, and whereabouts in the world are you? Northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere? And how much of the cell do you want it to occupy? You can highlight holidays. There's also a text file. If the holidays aren't included for you, right, then you can go ahead and there's a text file for that. And you can get to that from holidays at the top here. You can also add custom frames. Things here as well. So calendar, title, month, and year. Okay, so those are the things you can do with that. And all of these things, add a holiday layer, all of that good stuff. And then you just click OK. Okay, so start year must be less than or equal to the end of the year. Did that run? I think I just clicked OK. Let's just run that again. Okay, let me just load that again. December 2020. Oh, I did make a boo-boo there. Okay, so 2021. Let's say December 2021. There we go. This time, and I'll just include the moon phase again because I just like it. Okay, this time when you hit it, it takes a minute or two to think about it, and it builds out a whole new InDesign document for you. Okay, or should do. I did click OK, didn't I? But anyway, when it does it, you get a whole new formatted thing. There it is. There's the funky moon phase bit, and I can just scroll through these things here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my shortcut here to move between these artboards and all of this stuff here. So at the top here, you can see this is a paragraph style. Yeah, so you can change all of those things, and that's it. There you go. That's how you can make one super, super quickly with all of those extra bits. But if you want to do it using nothing more than your own skill, then do check out my videos on creating calendar layouts there. But that's where you can do that. You can add weeks and week numbering and all of that good stuff. Thanks ever so much for coming along. It's been really nice to see you all. But for now, it is time to say cheerio. All right. So some of you will see tomorrow as the time we're doing this live. Of course, be slightly different for people who are watching on demand. So there you go. Today is Thursday, the 17th of December. This is me, Tony, saying toodaloo. Bye-bye. See you later. Bye, bye, bye.